Early morning, March 12th, 2011. At 8 a.m., Rachel Ordley, the manager of the Lululemon store, showed up for work like any other day to open the shop. She saw the door was already open and figured whoever closed up the night before had just been sloppy. But when she stepped inside, the lights were on and clothes and gear were thrown everywhere. Realizing the place had been robbed, she called out, asking if anyone was there. That's when she heard a groan. Freaked out, she bolted outside to call 911. Next door was an Apple store, but it didn't open until 10. Still, there was a guy named Ryan Hogg already waiting outside. Rachel asked if he'd go back into Lululemon with her. Ryan, who had no idea what he was walking into, agreed. Turns out the second-gen iPad had just launched the day before, and Ryan was camped out to be one of the first to buy one. Back inside Lululemon, Rachel asked Ryan to check the back of the store, where the groan had come from. He went into the stockroom and saw a body face down in a pool of blood. He yelled for Rachel to call the cops. There was a dead person in there. On his way out, he spotted another woman, hands tied, seemingly unconscious but breathing. Ryan told Rachel about the body and the other, still living woman, who both looked like they had been attacked. Rachel made a frantic second call to 911. Cops showed up fast around 8:20 a.m. to a horrific scene. The store was trashed, clearly robbed. One woman was dead, lying in blood, brutally wounded. The other was alive but out of it, bound with tape and with facial injuries. They were Lululemon employees, Jana Murray, the victim who was killed, and Brittany Norwood, who survived. Both had worked the closing shift the night before, shutting the shop around 10 p.m. It looked like someone had come in right at closing and attacked them. At first it wasn't clear. Was it a robbery gone wrong? Revenge? Maybe Jana tried to fight back and was killed for it, while Brittany complied and lived. Brittany Norwood was taken by stretcher to a nearby hospital to treat her wounds and see if she needed to be admitted. They didn't know how bad it was yet. She had visible cuts on her chest, legs, arms, and forehead. But one wound stood out, a deep 5-centimeter gash on her right thumb, maybe from trying to fend off a knife attack. Jana Murray's body went to the medical examiner. The autopsy results were shocking. The attack on her was way more vicious than what Brittany suffered, with far more severe injuries. This suggested Jana might have fought the attacker hard, or maybe she was the specific target all along. The ME found a total of 330 separate wounds on Jana's body. This wasn't just a killing, it was an overkill, a frenzy of rage. Most were stab and slash wounds all over. Crucially, Jana was alive and conscious for most of them. It was prolonged torture. The sheer number pointed to something intensely personal, like someone who really hated her. At the crime scene, investigators found a key piece of evidence, a bloody footprint from a size 11 U.S. men's Reebok athletic shoe. They believed it was left by the attacker. The victims. Two very different lives. Jana Murray was 30, from Houston, Texas. Everyone described her as incredibly positive, well-traveled, she'd even studied in China, health-conscious, and a yoga enthusiast. For her 30th birthday, she went bungee jumping. She was charismatic and became one of Lululemon's top sellers. She'd moved to Arlington, Virginia for grad school and loved the brand so much she took a job at the Bethesda, Maryland store, despite the 30-minute commute. By all accounts, she had no enemies. Brittany Norwood had a tougher background. She grew up poor in a large family, facing racism. Sports, especially soccer, were her outlet. She was a star player and even got a scholarship to New York University, dreaming of playing for the U.S. national team. Money troubles ended that dream. She studied sociology, then moved to Arlington, working 2 jobs, at the Willard Intercontinental Hotel and at Lululemon. Shortly before the attack, she'd transferred to the same Bethesda store as Jana. Former teammates said she was sweet but had a problem. She was a kleptomaniac, which got her kicked out of NYU and cost her the scholarship. The investigation unravels a story. Initial details at the scene included the bloody footprint, a knife, though investigators believed multiple store items were used on Jana, and 3 bundles of cash missing from the safe. The robbery motive seemed obvious, but the brutal, torturous nature of Jana's death didn't fit a typical grab-and-go theft. On the afternoon of March 12th, Brittany Norwood, sedated in the hospital, gave her first statement. She claimed 2 masked men had attacked them. One went after Jana, the other attacked her with a clothes hanger. She couldn't give more details. That same day, investigators talked to employees at the neighboring Apple store, which was open until 11 p.m. the previous night. A worker came forward as a witness. He said he'd heard 2 female voices around closing time. One screamed, "Talk to me! Don't do this! Tell me what's going on!" Another voice pleaded, "Oh my God, help me, please help me!" Then came screams and moans, followed by a dragging sound. Shockingly, this employee didn't call 911. He told a security guard who checked Lululemon's window, saw nothing unusual, and left. The noise had stopped by 11 p.m. when the employee left work. Cracks in Brittany's story. Detectives visited Brittany at home a couple of days later. Still in pain, she elaborated. The 2 attackers were white men, 25 to 27 years old, in ski masks and black clothes. One was about 5 feet 5 inches, attacking her. The other about 6 feet 0 inches, attacking Jana. She said after Jana was killed, one man went to rob the store while the other taunted her. The attacker, she claimed, knew her name and address, which she said they got from bills in her stolen wallet, and made racist remarks. He then shoved her onto Jana's lifeless body. But detectives were growing suspicious. Her story had holes. For instance, Jana's car was found parked several blocks away. Brittany first said she didn't know anything about it. Then, when shown security footage of her parking Jana's car that night, she changed her story, saying the attackers forced her to move it and were watching her. She claimed she saw a police car at the parking lot but was too scared to call for help. The footage, however, showed that once she turned the corner, she was completely out of sight from Lululemon. So how could they be watching her? Confronted with the inconsistencies, a detective told Brittany he didn't believe her, that her story was fabricated. She was read her rights and arrested for the murder of Jana Murray. The evidence mounts against her. The forensic case was damning. DNA under Jana's fingernails matched a scratch on Brittany's back, proving Jana fought her attacker. Security footage from the area showed only Brittany coming and going. No masked men. The medical examination showed Brittany's wounds were superficial and likely self-inflicted. The deep cut on her thumb was consistent with the knife slipping in her own grip during an attack. She had tied her own hands with the tape to stage the scene. The bloody Reebok footprint? It was made by a shoe found in the store that matched Brittany's size. She had apparently stomped in blood to create a male attacker's print. The stolen cash from the safe was found hidden inside the store. Prosecutors identified 5 weapons used on Jaina, all from the store: a hammer, a knife, a wrench, a rope from a clothes hanger, and a box cutter. Trial and motive. Facing overwhelming evidence, Brittany Norwood changed her plea mid-trial. She claimed self-defense, saying Jaina had insulted her and attacked her first after confronting her about stealing a pair of yoga pants. The trial lasted 6 days. The jury didn't buy the self-defense story given the extreme brutality and the staging. On January 27, 2012, she was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole. The big unanswered question remains: why? The official motive presented was rage over being caught shoplifting, but many, including prosecutors, believed it went deeper, that it was fueled by envy. Brittany, struggling with her own difficult life, may have harbored a deep-seated resentment toward Jaina, who seemed to have everything: positivity, success, a loving family, a bright future. That night, a confrontation over a petty theft may have unleashed a torrent of that envy, resulting in an unspeakably violent attack. Brittany Norwood never gave her true reason. The why died with Jaina Murray and remains locked away with her killer.